Tomorrow marks 1 year since Georgia Congressman John Lewis died. To mark the anniversary, there will be good trouble vigils for democracy tomorrow as people demand that Congress moves quickly to protect voting rights and to rebuild our democracy. And today in Nashville, Tennessee, a historic marker was unveiled honoring the late congressman's life and legacy. The marker was placed at the site of the old Greyhound bus station where some of the freedom riders boarded buses. Congressman Lewis was a pillar of the civil rights movement and was one of the freedom riders, activists who rode buses across the South to challenge segregationist laws and policies. John Lewis died last July after a battle with cancer. He was 80 years old.